Wednesday night, Hyde Park Bible Study JT. So blessed you're with me tonight. Midweek prophecy update. And boy, is there things going down. Russia's on the border of Ukraine. Actually, they've already annexed a little pieces of it already, saying that they're sending in the peacekeepers. That's right out of the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39. We're at a time like I've never seen before, guys. The pages of the book are just exploding into reality. And I thought I'd talk to you about something that you might not have heard of in the news, but it's coming out of Finland. An official has been arrested. And she's been arrested by the government and she's being tried. Because why? She quoted God's word. She quoted God's word. And I just want to read a couple scriptures before I show you this little short video. It's out of 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. It says, there's a time coming. There's a time coming, and I believe that time has come, when people will no longer listen to sound and wholesome teaching. They will follow their own desires. They will look at teachers who will tell them whatever their itching ears want to hear. We're at a time where people only want to hear what they hear. They don't want to listen to sound doctrine. They don't want to look at God's word, because God's word is going to bring judgment. It's going to bring judgment on this lost and dying world. That's what Daniel's 70th week is all about. The Great Tribulation is to restore Israel back into a covenant relationship with their king, their God, and to judge the nations on how they treated Israel. But this is going to be a very difficult time. So, sit back, watch this short video, it's only a couple minutes long, about what's going on, a news story in Finland with this woman who has been arrested and now stands trial.
In 2019, a former Finnish minister named Päivi Räsänen tweeted out this message. In the tweet, she criticized the Lutheran Church in Finland, of which she's a member, for agreeing to take part in Finland's Pride Day. She posted a picture from the Bible and quoted it, asking how shame and sin can be presented as pride. Now she is facing jail time, accused of hate speech. The trial started this week in Helsinki and is headline news in Finland. It's also getting a lot of attention around the world, because the outcome of this case could set a precedent. Can religious beliefs be interpreted as hate speech? She has also been charged for 2 other utterances. One being an article that was published online 16 years ago, when she described homosexuality as a psychosexual development disorder, and other comments she made during a radio interview on the national broadcaster of Finland, when she described people who are homosexual as dysfunctional. The action against Räsänen is being taken by the Finnish state, and prosecutors are claiming that her comments are likely to cause intolerance, contempt, and hatred towards the homosexual community. Räsänen is denying the charges and says that she stands by her words and that she's always been a strong advocate for human rights. Räsänen, who is a medical doctor by training, was Finland's interior minister from 2011 to 2015. She arrived at court on Monday holding a Bible and told the waiting media that she was honoured to be defending freedom of speech and religion. Prosecutors are arguing that Räsänen's statement violate the equality and dignity of homosexuals and therefore go beyond the limits of freedom of speech and religion. Räsänen also claims her beliefs are rooted in the Bible and that theological issues should not be solved in court. However, in court on Monday, the prosecutors argued that this case should be based on the secular legal system, not the writings of the Bible. If found guilty, Räsänen could technically face time in prison, although it would be more likely she would receive a fine, which could be in excess of €13,000. The trial continues. Colin Flynn, EWTN News, in depth.
Can you imagine taking God to court, calling his words hate speech? Well, we have allowed that spirit, the spirit of homosexuality, to take root, not only in our country, but worldwide. And when a government is compromised by sin, the enemy will exploit it, and it will come down to us. If we stand on God's word, we're going to be called haters. Haters. I understand what civil liberties are, and I understand what human rights are. But I know one thing, God's word is true. And I'm going to stand on it. Solomon tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 16, says, I also noticed this under the sun. There is evil in the courtroom. Yes, even the courts of the law are corrupt. In the Psalms, David tells us, only fools say in their hearts, there's no God. They are corrupt, and their actions are evil. Not one of them does good. Also, David, rise up. In Psalm 68, verse 1 and 2, it says, rise up, O God, and scatter your enemies. Let those who hate God run for their lives. Those who hate God. Can you imagine having a hatred for your Creator? Blow them away like smoke. Melt them like wax in a fire. Let their wicked perish in the presence of God. We're at a time like no other. God's word is truth. Truth is accountable. Our world does not want to be accountable anymore. They want to do whatever they want to do. And they're going to pass laws to let them do that. And they're going to take the ones out that they don't like. They're coming after us, church. They're coming after us. We don't line up with their politics. We don't line up with them whatsoever. I want you to go to, I believe, 2 Peter. Let me go to it right now. Second Peter. Sorry, it took me a little bit to get there. 2 Peter, first chapter, verse 5. It says, in view of all this, so you got to read all these great things God has done for you. Make every effort to respond to God's promises. Supplement your faith with generous portions of moral excellence. And with moral excellence, knowledge. And with knowledge, self-control. And with self-control, patient endurance. And with patient endurance, godliness. And with godliness, brotherly affection. Did you notice that? You have to put all those things into practice, into your life, where you can have love for the brothers and the sisters. Yes, you gotta respond to these promises God's given you. You have to supplement your faith with generous portions of moral excellence. Morality in Romans chapter 12, it says that's truly the only way to worship God, is to live a moral life. Let God change the way you think, church. We're living in a time like no other. The world's being prepared for life without us. And it is not going to be good. So I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.